right? Just the effort to know that we're up by, I don't know, 7, 10 or whatever. They could have gave up the layup, but to go up there and get that block is elite.
And staying with the defense, Kyrie struggled tonight. Luka struggled in the second half. Just what were you guys doing defensively to keep those guys in check?
Just trying to show them bodies, show them different bodies, trying to crowd the paint, but at the same time being able to cover the three.
You guys always talk about whatever it takes. It really was a team effort tonight. But in addition to your defense, they needed your scoring as well. Like, what was working for you offensively?
Honestly, I think I just got the opportunity. I would say a lot of it was JT. JT was tagging the basket. They were double teaming him, and he was making the right play. I don't know if he had a triple-double. Almost had 9 rebounds, but the way that he played tonight, the way that he led us, getting into the paint, making plays, finding me wide open, it was all about him.
All right, thank you, Jrue. Going to Dallas up 2-0, how's that feel?
It feels great, but it's not over. Whatever it takes, as long as it takes.
We'll see you in Dallas. Mike.
All right, Lisa. That's now 9 straight victories for the Boston Celtics. And in the entire playoffs, they're now 14-2. And more importantly, 2-0 here in these NBA Finals. Mavericks lose back-to-back games for the first time in the playoffs. Our final score here in Game 2, Celtics 105, Dallas 98. Thanks to our outstanding crew, led by producer Tim Corrigan, director Mike Schwab. For Doris Burke, J.J. Redick, and Lisa Salters, Mike Breen saying thanks so much for watching here on ABC, home of the NBA Finals right now. Let's join Malika and the studio team here at the TD Garden.
Mike, thank you. Jaylen Brown with 21 points here tonight, and this emphatic exclamation mark as the Boston Celtics take a 2-0 lead, and the series shifts back to Dallas. Here alongside Bob Myers, Michael Wilbon, Josh Hart, I'm Malika Andrews. The Boston Celtics get a 105-98 win. And we were talking, Bob Myers, that usually in these close games, this is when we start to say, oh, we would favor Dallas in these. They have 2 of the best closers in the game. But all of a sudden, the Boston Celtics coming at you in waves. What made the difference here?
What you said, Malika, the team. It's Boston's team. Let me ask you guys a question. Malika, I'll start with you. Who's the MVP right now of the finals? I got my answer, but I'll go with that.
I got my answer too.
All right, right now,
You just saw.
I'm going to go with Jaylen Brown.
Okay.
I'm going Jaylen Brown.
What about you?
Jrue Holiday.
I'm going Brad Stevens.
Okay.
You think, I mean,
I get it.
But the team. Put a team together. You put a team together. Jrue Holiday might have been the best player in this game. The first game, it might have been Jaylen Brown, might have been Porzingis. That's the advantage that this Celtics team has. Would they play a B game tonight? B minus? It wasn't great. They shot, what, 10 of 38 from 3, 10 of 39. They won by 7. Never really in doubt. I think there was a moment there where you thought Boston might get close, or Dallas might get close, but it never got there.
Well, but that's why I've thought all season that the Jason Tatum narrative was overstated. Jason Tatum has to be the best player on the Celtics, and he has to be the MVP. No, he doesn't, because they've got an ensemble, and that's what put all those banners up there. Celtic team after Celtic team. And Brad Stevens knows that. Yeah. Not that he was trying to follow a formula or a pattern, because he wasn't. But he was doing that thing that makes the Boston Celtics who they've been, where you've got all these. And by the way, all those answers could be right about who the MVP so far of the finals is, and I can switch from Holiday.
They never handed it to a front office member before.
Yeah, I know.
But Bob's over here caping for it.
I'm representing my old craft.
If I'm Dallas, I'm kicking myself right now. This was the game they needed. Boston shooting 26% from 3. They out-rebounded them. This is the game they needed. This is a game Kyrie, they needed him to be aggressive, and they just didn't do it. And that's something that we talked about the whole time. They need Luka, and they need Kyrie to be exceptional. And that's something that it's tough. It's tough when you're in a hostile environment like this to lean on those guys every single second.
Right, particularly because you're looking at a 30-point triple-double here for Luka Doncic. Yep. You're looking at the Boston Celtics shooting, Wilbon, less than 26% from 3.
The combination of those things would lead you to believe Dallas won this game, just hearing that. But Josh, I want to follow up even and ask about this. How important is it that the Celtics didn't give in, even when Luka was hot, to double team him or to blitz him or do the same thing to Kyrie. Other teams have had to do that defensively. The Celtics have not.
Yeah, it takes extreme discipline. And I think at the end of the day, their goal is to limit him as much as they can, but they're going to just force everyone else to beat them. And that's something that Joe Mazzulla and the Celtics, they don't believe Dallas has enough to beat them. And I think that's the biggest thing. You need guys coming out, being aggressive. Maxi Kleber going 0 for 4 at times, looking nervous to shoot. You need P.J. Washington to be aggressive. You need Derrick Jones Jr. to make those hustle plays. You need those guys, especially going against a team like this. I played against them. They're going to make other guys beat you, and that's something that Dallas hasn't done.
And Kyrie, he has to be that Robin to Doncic's Batman. And it's not just the fact that he went, he was 7 of 18.
He didn't get started till late.
He's having trouble getting separation, one. And two, he's having trouble getting by some pretty elite defenders. So I'm not knocking Kyrie. These are some of the best perimeter defenders.
Are the Celtics going to be able to be that physical in Dallas with Kyrie Irving?
They will.
They bounced him around like a pinball tonight. They did.
They need more movement on the offensive side. Everything is just so stagnant. Now you're having Kyrie and Luka going against 2 and 3 defenders. You need to have some type of movement, get them in space. So that's something that they're not doing, and it's tough to see.
So if you're Jason Kidd right now, Bob, what are you saying this group, knowing that the adage is a series doesn't start until a team wins on the road?
I mean, I think what he's saying, and Josh, you've been in these situations more in the locker room, but when I have seen in the locker room, when thankfully we weren't down 2-0 that often, but I've heard coaches say, and I think is smart, is this is what they're supposed to do. They protected home court. Yeah. Now let's go protect ours. So you don't overreact to it, and I think what you say if you're Jason Kidd is we were in this game. We were right there. We know we can play better than this. We showed up. We fought. We competed. Now let's go home, protect our home court. So you don't overreact. We overreact. They don't overreact.
But we're overreacting to this one, God, Malika gets on me about how much I hate stats. But
it does.
Teams that have taken in the NBA Finals a 2-0 lead are 31-5. Yeah. I mean, that's not something in zero, but it's something to pay attention to. Probably.
I'm wondering, Malik, what I didn't answer, and I'll ask Josh, is what strategically, if Jason Kidd comes to you and says, "Hey, Josh, tomorrow at shoot around in practice, say, what are you seeing out there?" What would you say?
I'm having P.J. Washington and Derrick Jones Jr. initiate offense. I'm getting Luka and Kyrie off the ball, getting them in position where they don't have to work so much. And I think that's something that they're not really doing. All the shots, you talked about it earlier in pregame, the shots that they're making or the shots that they're shooting, it's just so tough. Right? And then they're not getting anything on the offensive glass. So I'm looking at the offensive and saying, how can I get these guys off the ball in the flow of it and get them getting downhill?
Yeah, and when you're in a series like this, what also happens is it is a chess match. It's best of 7. The more you can take a team out of what they're used to doing, and so he's saying P.J. Washington, Derrick Jones. Now this is a team used to having Kyrie and Doncic handle. So and also, look, we all watched Indiana score a lot of points on this very good Celtics team. Even without Halliburton, Indiana could score. I understand. Right, exactly. But that's what they did all year. So we could sit here and say Dallas needs to push off misses. That's not what they do.
And Luka's going to have the ball, and he's not going to have a better first half than he had tonight. Unlikely.
That's right. I just know you cannot let an elite defense like this set up every time. I mean, look, on makes, it's hard to push. But on misses, Luka's he slowly gets it out. That's his style. That's his pace. But now you're staring at one of the best defenses in the league set up in the half court.
I thought when they cut the lead, by the way, Jrue Holiday makes a great play. It could have been a 2-point game. But when they cut the lead, Kyrie had the ball more in his hand. Kyrie got to the basket a couple of times. Yes, he didn't beat anybody early, but he did late, Bob. And I thought he gave them a little bit of a spark, not to mention get himself going. No, the jump shot was not falling, but he got to the basket a couple of times, and he broke down the defense a couple of times, and they got this thing back to what? 5-point
game.
Well, and those are the games that usually we have said, okay, this is when Dallas is going to take over. This is when Dallas is going to take over, because historically when they're in those tight games, they are the team that prevails because they have 2 of the best 2 closers in the game. But when Boston has 6 of the